Hello everybody, my name is Lemonade, I also go by Lemon. I am your coach of the Sacramento Surge, and today we have got a brand new league with the 4DL. If you've looked on the screen for about 3 seconds, you've already noticed that there's a weird logo and the Pokemon VGC logo. So, if you hadn't guessed already, this is a doubles VGC style draft league, which I have been looking to get into for a while. But on top of that, it's a league where I am not alone. I am teaming up with another coach, and the one that I have decided to team up with, who also took up I kind of just left it up to application, who also took the application for it, is Purple Pigless of the Greenville Grumpigs. He is another coach in the uh, SPS, or formerly IPA, and he is actually coming from the doubles. So he's seen more play in the VGC style draft than I have. And I'm going to break down what's going on here because it's very new to my channel. It's very new to me. This is my first experience in VGC, and I wanted to share it. The rules of the 4DL are every team consists of 2 coaches and 20 Pokemon in total. Our teams are 1 S tier, 2 A's, 2 B's, 4 C's, 3 D's, 6 free agent Pokemon, a Mega, and a Gigantamax. The only Pokemon that cannot Dynamax is our Mega Pokemon. We have a budget of 450 points to spend on those 6 free agent Pokemon. And every week, this is the interesting part, every week our teams are preparing 2 sets of 6 Pokemon. In normal draft, you are preparing 1 team of 6. This, we're preparing 2. Um, and that's like the main reason why we have so many Pokemon. And the reason we are drafting, that's the reason. That's it. But the way the battles work is we're going to pick a team of 6 to go in one at a time, basically. We can pick whichever one we want to go in whenever we want, but whenever both teams lose twice, we lose. The battles are best of 7, and it's just like regular VGC draft. And I also forgot to mention, Purple Pigless and I joined up to make the team Purple Surge Strike, which is what this logo is. Very quickly made, but I think it looks pretty cool. And a very important disclaimer is that I am not able to record Purple Pigless's voice whenever we're playing. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to break down the teams, what Pigless and I thought while team building, and then I'm just going to cut to silent gameplay because I really don't want to be making 6-7 post comms for one video every week. And I don't think that's going to be very fun. I don't think that a single post com for a single battle is very fun for me or for you guys. So instead, it's going to be me explaining the teams, what we're thinking of in as best detail as I can. But anyway, that's about it, and we're going to start this draft off. Overall, there are 8 coaches, or 8 teams, sorry. There's 16 coaches of 8 teams. And we had the 5th pick overall. And that's a pretty good spot. I was pretty happy with that spot. I like a middle pick in this. And it's a little bit closer to the wheel, so I like that. You can see the tier draft, the tier Pokemon that we're drafting over here, the free agent, the Pokemon's name, their abilities, stats, and their typing. Or actually, I think I deleted the typing part. I don't remember. You might not be able to see their typing. I'll explain it anyway. But yeah, that's about it. We're going to jump right on into this. So as the draft was going pretty quickly, it only took about like a day and a half for it to completely finish, which is kind of crazy. Something that occurred to us was that a lot of the really, really good Pokemon were getting taken out, like Tapu Fini, Incineroar, Tyranitar. But we had this thing planned from the start. We noticed that it was a tier lower than we would have personally put it, and we love the idea. Purple Pigless and I both immediately agreed to grab it, and I'm very glad that we got it. It's Melmetal. Melmetal is an incredibly strong Steel-type Pokemon with a crazy base 135 HP, 143 defense and special defense, but a very lackluster base 65 speed or 65 special defense and 34 speed. That being said, though, this thing is so powerful, and it is most prominently a threat in singles, but there have been teams out there who draft Trick Room for Melmetal, and they've done very well. But this is a format where Trick Room is much stronger, it is much more viable, and it's all around just better. So Melmetal in Trick Room is going to be a huge threat. We grabbed it at A tier, which is a bit of a steal in our opinion, in my opinion as well. Iron Fist is a great ability that boosts its Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Double Iron Bash, which is its signature Steel type move that hits twice and has 30% chance to flinch on each hit. So it has Jirachi flinch hit chance with the ability to break sub and still do damage in one turn. Like, this thing is crazy in Trick Room. Yeah, that's our first pick. It cost us absolutely nothing. It's so good. We did leave our S tier pick towards pretty much the end. Like, with the way the points were set up, we could have just left that for a while. We just kind of, we didn't have like an exact S tier that we wanted from the beginning. We originally did actually plan on Volcarona, and that didn't get taken, but we just kind of reconsidered it later on, and I'm glad we did. Anyway, though, our next pick, we weren't planning on this thing. We were actually going to plan, we were going to plan on something much, much worse, but we were kind of just overlooking some of the tier placements here, and we got Mega Latios as a C tier Mega. This thing gave us an extra 30 points towards our free agent, which is so good. This thing is crazy powerful. Base 110 speed is good. 120 special defense, very good. 160 special attack is insane. 100 defense and 110 attack with an 80 HP. Like, this thing is so good. It's got Surf. It's got um, tons of options on offense and defense as well, actually. It's got access to Tailwind and Ally Switch. I believe it has Trick Room to counter Trick Room. It's got Dragon Dance to set up. It's got Calm Mind. Uh, this thing is just really, really good. It's a really good dragon as well, Dragon and Psychic, and it actually resists everything that Melmetal is weak to, except for ground, which it's immune to with Levitate. This thing is just really powerful. Mega Latias was a tier above, but we wanted the extra points because they're pretty close in ranking. Yeah, super powerful dragon type right off the bat. Very happy with this pick. And I'm actually forgetting what our next pick was off the top of my head. I kind of forgot what it was. Um, I Never mind. I remember now. With those 30 extra points, we can actually draft a high tier Mega, which is what we were planning from the beginning. We were planning on drafting Mega Banette with Gmax Lapras and have like the standard Comfey with it. Um, but but a little bit before we grabbed Mega Latios, Single Strike Urshifu was taken. And that was actually kind of a big part of our plan. Uh, so we instead decided to go with Gmax Single Strike Urshifu. So we got our Urshifu either way, and this thing is incredibly powerful. Base 130 attack is really good. 97 speed is respectable enough to run Scarf. Unseen Fist is an incredible ability that means that if our opponents use Protect, contact moves will go through it and it just won't matter. Um, its Gigantamax move, though, if you don't know how Gigantamax works, is these Pokemon that have a Gigantamax form have a move changed, um, and this thing has its Dark type move changed, which is really good for it because Max Darkness normally lowers special defense, which is not useful to Urshifu at all. But Gmax One Blow, I think that's what it's called, is so strong it ignores Max Guard. It completely ignores it. It's so good. This thing did take away those 30 points we got from Mega Latios, but that's completely fine because we have a plan for our free agent points. We did the math from the very beginning. We did the math going in. We did the math through the whole draft. We had no problem with it. This thing's got some good bulk and 100 HP in defense. 60 special defense is not desirable, but this thing is so strong. Dark and Fighting is an incredible offensive typing. Not great defensively, but offensively, it's so good. The only thing that really stands in its way is fairy types, and we got a pretty good one. We got a pretty good one off the board for Urshifu. This thing also has max airstream to boost its speed. It's got Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. It's got Iron Head for those fairy types. Wicked Blow, its signature dark type move, whenever it is outside of Gigantamax, is so strong. 80 base power dark type move that's guaranteed to critical hit. And crits ignore screens, intimidate drops, they ignore iron defense boosts, cosmic power boost, whatever. It ignores all stat boosts, drops, and screens, which is ridiculously good in this format. And it not being able to be protected either is they can't protect against this thing. They can, but it won't work unless it's something else that's attacking it. So Urshifu, Gmax Urshifu, very good pick. I'm really confident in these 3 picks alone. I'm very happy with these 3. And our next one, I'm once again forgetting what it was. Crap. I think actually it's been a little while for me. Anyway, though, our next pick, we wanted something from the very beginning. We wanted this thing at the start, and it was Togekiss. That's what I thought it was. Okay, probably should have looked at our draft order before I started this recording. Oh well. But Togekiss is so good in this format. It got a little bit worse with the inclusion of like Landorus and Feeny coming back, and a couple of those Pokemon made Togekiss a little bit worse. But I still have full confidence in this thing because of its versatility. Togekiss has very good sets on both the defense and offense. Serene Grace with Air Slash, pretty good offense, but not the greatest for this format. But it has Follow Me, it has Yawn, it has Helping Hand, um, but it also has a very good offensive set in Super Lux Scope Lens with Max Airstream boosting its speed, and it's got Flamethrower, and it's got Recovery and Roost. The thing is just so versatile that you kind of just have to hope that it's defensive, and then if it's not, then oh boy, you're going to be in for a surprise, and it's going to be a hurtful one. It's going to hurt. This thing is just so good. Fairy Flying typing is pretty good as well. It's a good typing to deal with Urshifu as well, especially. Just 4-time resisting its fighting type moves and 1-time resist those dark type moves. Very good fairy type to beat Urshifu. Um, Very good special attack and special defense stats as well. And its physical defense and HP stats are good. Like its only bad stat is attack, and it doesn't care. It's never going to run hustle. It doesn't want to. Super Luck and Serene Grace though are great abilities. So very very good fairy and flying type there. And at this point in the draft, a lot of low tier started getting taken out at this point, and it was very surprising. I didn't think that so many low tier Pokemon were going to get pulled out this early. So we decided to secure one that we wanted from the very beginning, one that is used pretty often actually, but it's a good one. It's Musharna. We went with Musharna because we wanted to have a strong Trick Room mode with Melmetal and a future pick, and Musharna is a very good Trick Room setter. We could have gone for Bronzong, but I didn't really want to have a repeat Steel type right next to Melmetal. Just they don't have a ton of synergy besides Trick Room, like Trick Room Bulldoze, and that's it. I didn't like that option. I didn't propose it. We thought about Bronzor actually, just as a very low tier D tier pick. Um, but Musharna was part of our plan because it pairs very, very well with a future pick. It can set Trick Room. It has Imprison to stop opposing counter Trick Room. It has access to Helping Hand as well. It's got Psychic and it's got Moonlight for recovery, though it never really runs it. And in VGC at least, it's got a really good HP stat, good enough defenses that it can take some hits pretty well. Uh, Base 107 special attack means that it can actually hit kind of hard. But not only that, though, its abilities are great. 2 of them are very good for this format. Forewarn can kind of reveal if your opponent wants to Dynamax. Like if we send this thing out on a Venusaur and it shows us that it has Leaf Storm, that usually means it's going to Dynamax. And that can actually also help us in figuring out some calculations, figure out if some things are going to die to like a max overgrowth. Like that's really helpful to know. But not only that, its telepathy ability means that it will not take damage from the attacks that our teammates use. So if Melmetal is going to use Earthquake next to Musharna, Musharna will not take the damage at all, which is really good in this format. And it pairs really, really well with our next pick, Dragalge. Dragalge is our second dragon type, but it's a good one. And in this format where we're bringing basically 12 different Pokemon every week, it's not bad to have a couple of repeat types. It's really not. This thing can hit incredibly hard with adaptability, with its Draco Meteors and Sludge Waves. pairs insanely well with Musharna. Musharna can just go for Trick Room. Then Dragalge can Dynamax and go for Max Ooze, and it just destroys. So it gets Sludge Waves for free. It gets Surfs for free. It has Thunder if you want to run Max Geyser on this thing. You can Dynamax, go for Max Geyser, set the rain. Then you have Thunder after your Dynamax ends. It's got Camouflage if we're up against any rain or any like terrain teams and we want to copy the typing. But it normally doesn't want to because it wants to be spamming Sludge Wave and Draco Meteor. It's got a good special defense stat that it can pair pretty fairly well with Musharna, so that Musharna can go for Confusion, a very weak Psychic type move, into Dragalge and proc the weakness policy, so that it's plus 2, and so that it can go for Draco Meteors a little bit more freely, I should say. This thing can hit incredibly hard, pairs really well with Musharna. It's another very good Trick Room Pokemon, of which we now have 3. And like I said, our low tiers were starting to pull out. I'm trying to remember what we picked here. I think we wanted something that paired really well with Togekiss, and that thing, yes, it was Blastoise. So Blastoise is really good. It's not quite as good as the Gigantamax one, but that was already taken. We wanted Urshifu, whatever, it's fine. This thing is really good though, again, in its versatility. It's got Shell Smash for the sweeping option. It's got Follow Me, Rain. It's got Follow Me, Fake Out, Yawn for the defense. And its offense is so good in this format. If you pair it next to Togekiss, just Follow Me, Shell Smash, Blastoise gets some major hits off with Water Spout. Even if it's not Shell Smash, you can go for Fake Out, and then Togekiss can go for a Max Airstream for free, maybe get a crit with the Super Luck. It's very good. It's so very good. It's really good defensively and offensively, and I love having that option. I really like the pairing with Togekiss because both of them are so good either way that it's kind of hard to tell until it's too late. And you kind of just have to assume that Togekiss is going to be defensive and Blastoise is going to be offensive. But if it's the other way around, then our opponents might be in for a world of hurt, and I think that's such a good thing. I'm very happy with this pick. And I'm very happy with our next one as well, because it provides some really good support. We need some speed as well. We need something above base 100 speed. We've got Latios, and that's it. Urshifu can increase its speed with Airstream. Melmetal and Musharna and Dragalge are good in Trick Room. Togekiss has Max Airstream. Blastoise has Shell Smash. Sure, but we need something that is naturally fast. And we noticed that this thing was kind of budget. It was actually in a pretty good place. Pretty free. We need to fill in a spot for a Pokemon that did get taken from our draft plan. And that thing's Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales in B tier is filling up our second B tier slot. This thing's really good. I really like Hail in this format because it reveals the order of speed. If you didn't know, the way that Hail works is it shows it whenever it damages at the end of the turn, it damages in order of the highest speed. So it's going to go from highest speed Pokemon, second highest, third, and the slowest. And I love that. It provides such good intel, and I love it. It's got Roarville for instant screens. Base 109 speed is good enough. Base 81 special attack is not desirable, but with Freeze Dry and Blizzard, it's pretty good. It's got Icy Wind for speed control as well. Snow Warning, again, could be pretty good to show us what the order of speed is in the matchup, in the middle of the battle. It also has Dazzling Gleam if it wants to run a little bit more offensive, though it normally doesn't. It's really good as a support. It has Imprison if we want to imprison and keep particular Pokemon from using particular moves. I don't fully know what this thing would want to imprison. Maybe like Blizzard or I don't think it really has anything that maybe Hypnosis. It has Hypnosis. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's kind of it, honestly. It doesn't have super great status moves. It's kind of just a Aurora Veil. But it can also Ice Shard into like Dragalge, proc weakness policy. Pretty good sweeping set option there. So I really like this pick. It's our second fairy. It's a good fairy as well. It's a really good fairy. I really like it. I've drafted it multiple times in singles, and I've enjoyed it every time. But I think it's pretty obvious what our next pick is. Whenever you have a Alolan Ninetales and you don't really know where to go next, you grab Alolan Sandslash. So Alolan Sandslash was put in D tier. What? This was the deciding factor for us deciding to pick Alolan Sandslash. Um, I noticed that we wanted Torracat, but it got taken pretty early as well. Um, so we had to find a different D tier. I wasn't actually looking in D tier. We also wanted Nihilego for B, but that got taken. So I was looking in B and I was like, actually, Ninetales seems kind of good. We need a little bit of speed. It has Icy Wind, it's got a Veil, all that business that I just talked about. And then I was looking for Sandslash, see where that was, figure out what that was going to cost. And I saw it in D, and I was like, dude, we have to grab this. This is so good. And it is. It's really good. Base 65 speed, not super great, but whenever you pair it with Slush Rush, it can be kind of hard to counter. Our opponents are going to be wanting to carrying Scarf just to beat Sandslash, and that can be pretty limiting in VGC style. Slush Rush is doubling its speed under Hail, so Ninetales plus Sandslash can be a great pairing. It's got a good attack stat, but it has Swords Dance and Hone Claws to boost its attack. Hone Claws is also going to boost its accuracy of Triple Axle and Drill Run. It's got Shadow Claw and Knockoff, Throat Chop. It's got some really good offensive capabilities, but I think that's something that it shouldn't be overlooked is that Sandslash can also set Veil. I've seen some people run Alolan Sandslash with Veil in singles and have that as a defensive with like spikes. The same thing kind of applies here, except for spikes. You can run Aurora Veil, Swords Dance, and then just Iron Head and Triple Axle, and then you'll be fine. Or Iron Head, Ice Core. Actually, I think Triple Axle has a higher chance to. No, I don't know. I don't know how Triple Axle works exactly in the miss. Um, But this thing, it can just hit incredibly hard. Give it a Life Orb, give it a Hone Claws or a Swords Dance, and this thing is going to be breaking some walls. It can go for Max Ooze with Poison Jab to boost Ninetales' special attack, so it can hit harder with Blizzard. Super great Pokemon. D tier was a very, very budget pick for us. I'm very glad we got it at D. I think Hail is super strong, uh, very underrated in this format. And I believe I think I remember what our next pick was actually. We grabbed. Okay, this was not what I thought our next pick was, but we grabbed Cantonian and Marowak. Again, we noticed that a lot of the lower tier Pokemon are getting taken out pretty quickly at this point, and this thing was a pretty important part of our team with Marowak. It's got two great abilities in Rockhead Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod redirects electric type attacks away from our ally and into the Marowak and gives it an immunity, which is really good if you pair it next to like Togekiss or Blastoise, because it kind of just forces your opponent to want to use a Grass type move instead. And what like then we just have a Rindo Berry, or we have a Yaji Berry for Togekiss, or uh, or a Charity Berry. We have a berry to reduce the damage of the attack that our opponents are going to want to go for instead, and that could be really good. But the main factor is it's again very very good in Trick Room. Base 45 speed is very low. It's got base 80 attack, but that attack stat is doubled with its Thick Club item, and it's going to hit incredibly hard with Knockoff, Earthquake, Bone Ring for a single target ground type attack that is not reduced from grassy terrain. It's got Fire Punch as well. I think it has Thunder Punch actually. I'm not completely sure on that, but yeah, Marowak. We both kind of thought this thing was ranked a little bit lower than it should. Like it's not phenomenal for sure, but I don't think it's a D tier Pokemon. I think it's a C. Like this thing also has Iron Head and Outrage. It's got Rock Slide, uh, Thunder Punch, Throat Chop. Yeah, that stuff that I was talking about. It has Submission. Well, that's not a very good move. I was gonna say for no recoil. Um, but yeah, this thing can just hit incredibly hard, and I don't think it was ranked at a good point, but we grabbed it. It was good for us. And our next pick though was actually C tier Kangaskhan. This thing is really strong. It is one of the two Pokemon in the game that have Scrappy Fake Out, and the significance of that is Scrappy makes normal and fighting type moves able to hit ghost types. And Fake Out is so good in this format. Like I said with Blastoise earlier, it can really enable Togekiss. Same thing applies to here. It can really enable something like Latios or Melmetal or even Urshifu to either get a Bulk Up or a Dragon Dance or a Calm Mind or whatever to start sweeping. Scrappy also makes it immune to Intimidate, which is a very common ability to be sought after in this format. A lot of the Intimidate users, actually, I'm pretty sure that all of the Intimidate users are gone. Incineroar, Landorus, gone. Arcanine, pretty sure it's gone. Crocodile, I don't actually think anybody went for Crocodile. Luxray's gone. Hitmontop is gone. Stoutland's gone. Tauros is gone. Herdier is gone. Krokorok's gone. Torracat's gone. A lot of them are gone. So this thing is going to be really helpful in giving us a immunity to that while giving us free fake out. C tier, filling in our third one. It's a really good pick. I'm really glad we got it. This was in our plan from the beginning. We also did want Tauros, but that got taken. So we decided to secure our other normal type just immediately. Sorry about that. Just a little something for a few seconds. But yeah, this thing's a great pick. And our next pick, though, we need something fast. Like I said earlier, we have, we got Airstream Togekiss, we got Shell Smash Blastoise, Icy Wind Ninetales, and Latias, and Airstream Urshifu. But we need something naturally fast. We need a Ghost type as well. We need something with a really strong special attack, and the perfect one for that is Spectrier. So this thing, I have very mixed feelings on it, but it's a very I think it's pretty good. I'm convinced now actually I'm convinced since we got a Pokemon that pairs with this thing so hilariously well. Um, this is our first free agent Pokemon, costing us 130 points from the A tier, bringing us down to 320. This thing has a really good base 130 speed, 145 special attack, and 100 HP. Everything else is not phenomenal, but its signature, its ability is so good. It's Moxie, but for special attack. Every time it gets a kill, its special attack is risen by one stage. That's so good. Its downfall, though, comes in its coverage. Its coverage is all Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, Hex, and Mudshot. That's it. So this thing really needs some help. It's usually run with Nasty Plot, Will-O-Wisp, Hex, and like Dark Pulse, or it actually in singles can have a substitute disable set like Dragapult does. Um, it has some options. It's not quite on par with Dragapult by any means, but it's still good enough for us to want to grab it. This was not in our draft plan for a long time. This wasn't until like pretty much right before this pick, and Pigless actually originally proposed it. And I wasn't super sure about it, but then as I started doing some looking at averages of our team stats, yeah, we needed speed. We needed special offense. I agreed. And since we got a pick a little bit later on, I'm actually super happy with it. It's going to be so fun pairing this with the pick we got a little bit later. But another pick that was pretty important to us was Illumise. And again, the lower tier Pokemon are getting taken out pretty quickly. Makes sense. We're pretty close to the end of the draft. Um, we're almost there. We're only like, what is that, 7 picks off? And that's not very much considering that we just drafted uh, like 13 Pokemon so far. Like we're almost at the end. We wanted Illumise secure. This is our last D tier in our tierings and our tier picks. It's got Prankster, which is so good in this format. It's a very good ability. It's got Prankster Tailwind, Charm, Fake Tears. It's got Helping Hand. And Fake Tears halves our opponent's special defense, can really enable Togekiss or Blastoise or Ninetales or Latias to do some work. Charm halves their attack. String Shot can have their speed, but Dark types are immune to all of these targeting status moves. The String Shot is not as great in my opinion because it has Tailwind. It's a little bit better than String Shot, but if you don't have Tailwind, String Shot's a good option. It's not bad. Its stats are by no means desirable, but it can outspeed a couple of things. Make sure that its Prankster moves go first. Hold on to a Sash, and it's going to get a Charm off before it dies. It's got value. I think we got value out of this pick, and I think we've gotten value out of all of our picks so far. Volbeat was a tier higher than this thing, and I don't know why, because like the only significant difference is that Volbeat has Tail Glow, and it's a Volbeat. It has like base 47 at special attack. It doesn't matter. So I think that Volbeat should have been a tier lower as well, but I'm also pretty just fine with Illumise. Like we don't need a bunch of prankster Pokemon. a couple of our opponents have like 2 or 3 prankster Pokemon. We have this one. Spoiler alert, this is our only one. With our next pick, though, if I'm remembering it correctly, I'm not sure if I am. I'm just going to go to the next slide. Okay, yeah, it was Serena. So we got B tier Serena out of our free agent points, costing us 90, putting us down to 230. Not too bad considering we have 4 more free agents to go. But the main reason we wanted this thing was because of its Queenly Majesty ability. And I am so excited to use Serena because Queenly Majesty is such a good ability that makes its ally and itself immune to all status moves. That includes Prankster, that includes Grassy Terrain, Grassy Glide, that includes that all of them. Bullet Punch, Fake Out, all of them, every single one. But it works exactly like Psychic Terrain. But the key difference is it works on a floating Pokemon. It works on both of them. It's so good. I don't know if I I should have looked into this, but I'm not sure. I think that if I go into Ice Shard, like if we use Alolan Ninetales Ice Shard into Serena, it will still work. I'm not sure. I think it specifically says opponent's priority moves. I don't know. That wasn't something I thought of until just now. But it's got some really good moves in Power Whip, Knockoff, U-Turn. It just got Triple Axle, so it can deal with grass types, which were its biggest problem. Um, it's got Dropkick is its signature move, which has a 100% chance to lower opponent's physical attack, which is pretty good actually. Like it's a little bit underrated. It's a little bit of an underrated move, usually overshadowed by Power Whip. Understandably so. Power Whip is a great move, but if you want a more supportive Serena, then Dropkick is the way to go. This thing costing us B tier. I didn't bring this up, but Sweet Veil is actually going to be usable. It's usually going to be running Queenly Majesty for sure, but if our opponent has like no special or no stat priority moves, we can just run Sweet Veil. Make sure that they can't go for any hypnosis or sleep powders against ourself or our ally, and that could end up being pretty impactful because in this format where um, you do not have a limit on how many Pokemon you can put to sleep, but that can end up being detrimental. This thing, though, also does have Taunt, which is pretty good because it doesn't have a terrible speed stat at 72. Makes it usable for Scarf. It has Acupressure, which can double a Pokemon's attacks, or any stat, actually. It's guaranteed to an random stat to the user or an ally by 2 stages. So that could be good. It's got Helping Hand. If we want to try and go for Grass Whistle, which works just the same as Sing, we can. I don't think we will, but we can. It's got Safeguard, so we can't be inflicted with status for 5 turns. Like, it's got some good moves. It definitely does. I'm really glad we got this thing at B tier, but we decided that we also wanted something a little bit more defensive. So we went with Tangela. D tier Tangela. D. Are you kidding me? This is probably the most valuable pick that we just got out of this entire draft. Like this is a B tier pick. This is not a D tier. Tangela is really good in this format. Tangrowth is good in this format. Tangela is just the same. It's the exact same thing, except a little bit worse HP stat, and that's it. It's got a really good physical defense stat. I forgot to mention, but uh, Serena is a grass type. This is also pure grass type. But this thing has knockoff. It's got Rage Powder to redirect moves. It's got Leaf Storm for damage. It's got Sludge Bomb for damage. It has access to Sleep Powder to put our opponents to sleep. It has such good moves for this format that I cannot believe it's so low. I just can't believe it. It's got such good moves. Oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe it. This thing's really good in this format. I don't know where else to go with this. It's just really good. I'm just looking over it all. Um, yeah, I mean, where Tangrowth is really good with Rage Powder, Tangela is just the exact same thing. It's another redirector. And this was the pick that made us decide not to go for S tier Volcarona. We didn't originally plan on Tangela, but we figured we were doing some calculations on how our free agent picks were going to go, and we had room for a D tier, or we could go for we either had room for an A, a B, 2D, and 2Cs. Or we could have gone for an A, a B, C, and A, or a B, C, and a D, or B, C, and two Ds was what it was. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. But we decided to go with this, with the 2D Pokemon route so that we had room for a B tier. Um, because Tangle is just such a good pick. It really is. It's a really good Pokemon. We felt like I felt like this was a huge steal for D tier. Um, that being said, though, we did go on to our next pick, and I think it was our last. No, actually, it was our free agent B tier. Um, so we wanted a fire type quickly. We we needed a fire type. I was looking at Salazzle for fake out. I was looking at Salazzle was kind of the only thing I found before. Purple Pigless found Blaziken in B tier, and there's no rule on banning speed boost. Heck yes, we're picking that. Blaziken, super good. I'm really excited to use this. I actually really enjoy Speed Boost Blaziken. It's a really fun Pokemon. But this thing can hit really hard with Heat Wave. It's got a really good base 120 attack and 110 special attack, so it can run mixed very easily. It can boost its speed by 2 stages in one turn with Max Airstream from Brave Bird. This thing has Swords Dance. It can hit really hard with Life Orb. It's got Flare Blitz and just a ton of really good moves. I don't think there's a rule on Baton Pass, but I don't think we're ever going to run that really. The thing has Feather Dance to reduce attack by 2 stages. Um, if we want to be a Mad Lad, we can run Mirror Move, which repeats the target's move. Whatever move our target just used, it repeats it, like it uses it, and it strengthens it by like 1.5. Like it's actually kind of a funny move. Um, but I wish this thing had entrainment. Actually, that would be hilarious. But yeah, this thing is just really good. I'm really glad we got this thing, and there's absolutely no problem with having 2 fighting types in this format. Um, a lot of defensive normals out there like Porygon 2. There's I think Audino got picked up, um, which doesn't surprise me. Thinking inside Trick Room, but yeah, B tier Blaziken costing us 90 points. I'm really happy with this pick. I thought it was a good one. I thought it was going to be fun more than anything, which is absolutely what I'm looking for here. But I'm also looking for fun that has value in it, you know? And I think that so far all of our picks have been valuable. But man, we need another Trick Room setter because currently our only one is Masharna and Latios, and Latios is never going to use it. Masharna is not going to be able to use it to every game because of the way the battles are set. So we need a good one, and our good one is Dusknoir. I really wanted a Pokemon with a Frisk that could reveal our opponent's items. I really love these revealing opponents something abilities. I love them. They're so fun. That's why I love Trace. Um, and Frisk is just the same. It reveals your opponent's item. The thing can actually hit pretty hard, but it's usually going to be running supportive with that really good defense and special defense, but really lackluster HP. It's usually going to run supportive with like Trick Room, Ally Switch, Pain Split, and Nightshade. That's its standard set, but it has other options as well. This is our last C tier Pokemon to fill in the tiers, and I think it's a good one. I think it's a good one. Funny story is that earlier, whenever we were discussing what to fill in the B tier, um, literal moment that I said Dusclops, this was before we planned Blastoise. The literal moment that I said the word Dusclops, it got taken. That was just really funny. I was laughing pretty hard. It was really unfortunate and really funny timing. It would have happened either way. Dusclops is really good in the format, but Dusknoir does everything the same, but it doesn't take hits quite as well with Dusclops having its Eviolite. But this thing really good. I'm really happy with this pick. And this time around, I think we went for our S tier. There were still a ton of really good options. Just nobody wanted to draft an S tier in their free agent because of the way the points were set up. I actually believe that one team did, and it was Incineroar, and now they have a Gmax Eevee. Um, they have an Eevee as their checking its max, so that's what they get for that. I hope they have fun with that Eevee though. I believe we went for our S tier here, and yes, it was Tapu Koko. We went with Koko because there's nothing wrong with drafting Tapu Koko. This thing is so good. There's no reason not to draft it. Is the thing. Like it. There's none. There's no reason not to. We figured an electric type was going to be good. There's no reason not to go for a third fairy. We have 3 fairy types now. I guess we were a little bit worried about our 2 dragons and decided to go with 3 fairies. I don't know why we did, but we did. The thing is great. Electric Surge gives us an immunity to sleep for like 6 turns, which is really good because in this format, a lot of people like running Hypnosis and Sleep Powder and Spore. It's really good for us. It can hit really hard with electric type moves. Its dual stab is pretty powerful. It's got access to Thunderbolt and Dazzling Gleam, which is really good in this format. It can pivot with Volt Switch. It has screens. It has U-turn. It has taunt, I believe. I think it has taunt. I actually don't really know. This is actually my first time using Tapu Koko. Yeah, it does have taunt. Um, it can set up with Calm Mind. It's got Eerie Impulse, which lowers special attack by 2 stages, which is really good. Um, that's kind of it. But it has just really good options. I'm really glad we got this thing. And then on the physical side, like if you want to run physically attacking, it has Brave Bird. That's really good. Um, that's kind of it, honestly. It's got Steel Wing if you want to raise your defense, but its special attacks are also kind of mediocre. It relies a lot on terrain. I will say that it relies a lot on its electric type moves specifically. But the thing is really powerful. Base 130 speed. I felt like we needed something fast because currently we're kind of relying on uh, Latios, Spectrier, Blaziken, and Urshifu to be fast. Um, But Tapu Koko's got base 130 speed. That's a good speed tier. 115 attack, good. With Brave Bird, good. 95 special attack with terrain, good. Sounds like really good Thunderbolts to me. Um, and I'm really happy with this pick. I'm really glad. I like Tapu Koko. I think it's got a brilliant design, and I am really excited to see what it can do this season. But our next pick was hilarious. I'm so happy we got this thing. This is probably the most valuable meme pick we could have possibly gotten, and it's Diglett. Just the single Diglett. We got the single Whack-A-Mole. Um, and there's a specific reason that we went for Diglett and not Dugtrio. We went for Diglett because of its ability to go for Sucker Punch into Spectrier. We don't want to do a bunch of damage to Spectrier so that it can sweep a little bit easier. But this thing pairs so hilariously well with Spectrier. Like, it's actually kind of insane. It's got Arena Trap, so your opponent can't switch. And the way Spectrier is built, if you don't make a good lead against it in this format, you're going to have a really rough time. Especially if we send Spectre out with Diglett, then our opponents cannot switch out, so they can't make a better switch. We Dynamax Spectrier, we Sucker Punch into it, activate Weakness Policy, Spectrier goes for Max Phantasm, something dies, lives are taken, Spectrier gets another +1 special attack, sweeping time. It's so funny how good this strategy is. Like, I just kind of said it as a meme at first, and then I did some calcs and like what it can do, and it's actually funny. Like, it's funny how good it is. It really is. It genuinely is really funny. There's nothing impressive about any of its stats. It's always running Focus Sash. There's nothing else to it. It's a funny pick, but one that works really well. Um, and our final pick was another kind of a funny pick. Oh, actually, I should mention that Diglett is ground type. It took up 40 points from our free tier, our free agent spots, um, and it leaves us with enough room for a C tier. And we weren't sure what we wanted for a little while, but we figured, hey, might as well go for this. We went for Arctozolt. We got Arctozolt. I'm actually kind of happy with it. It seems fun. Um, it's another Slush Rush Pokemon, which was the main basis of what we wanted for it. We figured there's nothing wrong with going for another electric type, especially considering we have Tapu Koko. But then I started doing some calculations on like what kind of damage output it has with Bolt Beak, and it actually is kind of impressive, especially if you account for hail and electric terrain from Tapu Koko. It's actually kind of funny because it actually is pretty good. There's nothing impressive about any of its stats. It's got respectable defense and a respectable attack stat, but its speed stat is mediocre. Balancing of that obviously is its Slush Rush ability, doubling its speed and hail. I felt like this was a valuable pick. I think we got value out of every single one of our picks, and I like that a lot. Its other 2 abilities are good. I don't think we're ever gonna run them, but they're good. It doesn't have a ton of options, honestly, so like I can see why this is C tier, but it makes sense for our team. If there was any team to draft this thing, I think it makes sense that it was ours. It can hit really hard with Bolt Beak, where if it's an 85 base power electric type move, where if the user goes before the target, it is doubled. So that goes up to like, what is that, 170 power? 170 base power on an electric type move. Sounds really good to me. And then that 170 power is getting boosted by 0.3 or by 30% because of electric terrain. Like, that's powerful. The thing also has Icicle Crash for Ice Stab. It's got Rock Slide. That's kind of it. It's not an amazing Pokemon by any means. Like, I actually don't think it's going to come to too many games. But to the ones that it comes to, I expect it to. I expect that it's going to do some pretty good work. It also has Freeze Dry actually for the Pokemon that are like Water Ground type, like Gastrodon or something. Freeze Dry sounds good to me. That is the end of our draft though, and you can see the full thing here. We got our Purple Surge Strike logo on the bottom right. I'm really happy with it. You can see a couple of the strong combinations that we had going in. Obviously, like Urshifu and Latios are strong combinations with like anything, so I didn't put them in there because whatever. But I actually put the Diglett Spectrier in the strong combinations, the strong combo section there, because I think that it is genuinely kind of crazy. Just opponent makes a bad lead, they're screwed. That's what it is. Yeah, I love that strategy so much. It's so funny. Togekiss Blastoise, again, it's kind of hard to figure out what's going to happen until it's too late. Alolan Ninetales, Alolan Sandslash, there's nothing that, like, it's good either way. It doesn't matter. It's good. It's Tale of Tale is old of time. It's the tale as old of time. If you draft Alolan Ninetales, you're usually going to draft Alolan Sandslash. And Mashar and Dragalge, again, I talked about it earlier, but being able to go for free sludge waves, not hit your ally, free surfs, not hit your ally, trick room, activate weakness policy, go +3 with max ooze that has adaptability boosted, then you have a better chance to go for Draco Meteors and keep your special attack boosts. It's really strong. I'm really happy with this team. I think we got value out of every single pick, and that is what is important here. I think we have strong combinations. I think that everything has its own purpose. Everything has the possibility to be really good for our draft. I'm really happy with how it turned out. This draft is nowhere near what we originally planned. The only Pokemon that stuck around from our original plan were uh Serena, Dragalge, Masharna, Togekiss, Melmetal, Kangaskhan, Marowak, and Illumise. That's it. That's so few Pokemon considering that we're drafting 20. I'm really excited to go into this, and if you guys are too, please do consider liking and subscribing. It shows me that you appreciate the content and that you're enjoying it, because I am as well. I'm very excited for this. I'm going to see you all in week 1, where I'm going to break down the team we're bringing, and then it'll be a silent com. It'll be a silent live com. It'll be silent, but live gameplay. No, none of the uh, yeah, no replay post com stuff. That's not very fun. It's going to be live, but it's going to be silent. You're not going to be able to hear me. I think that's just the best way to do it. Anyway, though, I'm going to see you all in week 1. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you all later. Thank you. Goodbye. I had trouble pausing it. Anyway, thank you so much. Goodbye.